Mark P. Otten back with you. All right, this is a quick introduction to graphing in Excel, and it's going to be very quick because typically I do my graphing in SPSS for psychology research, but Excel does offer a couple of features, and the flexibility of Excel is nice when it comes to printing a graph, being able to edit it, going in, looking at the colors, the style, everything that goes along with typing your homework answers into Excel in terms of flexibility, typing in words and numbers into the cells and all that stuff. So anyway, Excel is still very flexible. With the graphing, it's a little bit strange. So it's strange because I'm about to get a bar graph instead of a histogram. Bar graph is typically for categorical data, like separate categories of data would be represented by each bar. The histogram is more like for a continuous scale where the bars are kind of connected on a number line. Excel's histogram feature has not served me well over the years. So I'm going to go go ahead and show you a bar graph to represent a histogram approximately. And again, the thing about Excel that you can do is after you're done, you can go in and edit a little bit if you want. And so I'm not going to show you much of that, but here's the look of the data. So first step here, I have the SPSS window kind of in the background there showing you the raw data. This is the fitness variable and the relaxation variable that I show you more detail about in the SPSS graphing and data screening video. But for Excel, what I've done is I've created a frequency distribution on my own, and I've done that by counting. This is just for the fitness variable, the first column. There's 19 people in that first column, and I went ahead and just counted how many people answered 1. Turned out it was 2 people, right? So I went ahead and assigned a 2 to the first group of people here. 2 people said 1. Same thing for the next one. 2 people said 2, 2 people said 3. So I just did that manually, went through and counted. You can also get a frequency distribution in SPSS first, and then use it here to manually make your Excel frequency distribution, which is what this is. The other weird thing about this format is that I have labeled the fitness category with words instead of numbers. So the number 1, I wrote O-N-E, and that was actually important because now Excel is going to know that we want to put that variable on the x-axis of the graph. Typing in words will do that. If you typed in a 1 there instead of the O-N-E, Excel would freak out and automatically calculate a different graph or present a different graph that would look weird. So the only other thing to mention before I show you the graph is just that I made an 8 category with 0 and a 10 category with 0. 0 people gave those responses for this particular variable, but I included them because it was a scale of 1 to 10. And so it was possible. It's a possible value in this particular scenario for somebody to say an 8 or a 10. It's just that nobody did. So I included them there with the zeros so that could be graphically represented as well. To get the graph, you're going to highlight everything, including the headings there. So for me, it was fitness and frequency. Those are the headings. You can call that second column frequency, regardless of what kind of data you're using, how it's labeled otherwise. First column, you can label according to what the item is, in this case, a measure of physical fitness. So you highlight everything, including the headings. And then I'm on a Mac, so it might look a little bit different for me than it will for you. But either way, you're going to go to Insert and then a graph. And so for me, there's these little icons at the top as part of my Excel ribbon, I guess they call that. So there's a little icon with columns here. I'm going to hit that. That's a column graph. And then I'm just going to go to the top left 2D column graph. So I was just doing this on my iPad. It looked a little bit different than on my desktop Mac here. So I don't know. Might look a little different like I mentioned for you, but it's a column graph that you want after highlighting the data, including the headings there. And I'm just going to get 2D because I'm not trying to get fancy here with the 3D stuff. So I'm going to hit that, and it should give me a frequency distribution that makes sense with the labels going across the bottom. And again, you'll see, we saw this in SPSS on the histogram. The 5 was the most what am I trying to say? 5 was the most popular response. 5 people answered 5 on this particular item, so that's the highest bar in the histogram. Like I said, this is technically a bar graph instead of a histogram. The bars are not connected on the number line here the way perhaps they should be, but oh well. From here, and this is like the edge of what you could do on your own if you're a nerd and you wanted to mess with the look here. You could double click on this graph, this histogram. You could change the title. If you don't want it to be called frequency, you could call it something else. Double click on that, edit that. You can double click on the bars and edit the colors. You can even edit the labels on the side, I think. So lots of things you could do from here, but I will leave it at that for this particular lesson.